start looking like a man when you live. Like, just stop saying that. I hear that all the time. Or you won't look like a man because you are biologically not a man.
If a woman come up and tell you, look, I don't want to look too masculine, what would you say to that person directly?
You are a woman. You have your female hormones. You have your female curves. You have your female shapes. You do not have testosterone like a man.
Amen to that. Wow, you nailed the point.
After the age of 30 years old, you're going to lose muscle mass 3 to 5% every decade. And it could even go up to 8% every decade for women. Your muscles are only going to go away slowly and slowly and slowly. And what are you left with? Being frail, being immobile, being not able to be independent. And this is why I see day in, day out in the clinic. So when you understand that this is a non-negotiable, your life, as you start aging, will only look better and better and better.
What's that one truth about training or health that generally changed your life?
The truth is,
hey guys, this is Jordan, the Iron Beast, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Pump, the channel where we give you the truth the fitness industry usually don't tell you. So most women avoid lifting weights because they're afraid of getting too bulky. But what if that belief is actually holding them back? Today's guest is a Malaysian chiropractor and competitive bodybuilder who is based in the UK and also who has been in the scene for some time right now. Today, we're going to be talking about women in fitness, recovery, injury prevention, and gym culture from the Malaysian gym culture and versus the UK gym culture, and also the realities of bodybuilding and training. Welcome to the show, Khai Wern.
hi Jordan, thank you so much for having me on. Very excited.
Yeah, man. I'm really happy to have you. We've been planning this for a while right now. So yeah, finally this is happening. So we'll get to this. We'll just go straight away into it. So look, you're both a chiropractor and a bodybuilder. How did that happen?
So I'm a chiropractor because I've always loved biology and I love health sciences. And I realized there is actually a very big gap in terms of preventative care in the healthcare industry. So there is a huge potential for me to kind of tap into to bring that awareness into the space, which ties in really well with bodybuilding, because bodybuilding, essentially, you're just going to the gym for training, for exercise, and that actually helps prevent a lot of things from happening that sits under your control. So yeah.
Okay, and how long have you been bodybuilding?
Not long. I only started going to the gym for the first time in my life in 2023.
In 2023? Wow, that's very
Yeah.
recent. But have you been training like for a really long time before that?
No, I've not been exercising at all before that. And then I did a bit of running at school, and I did sprinting events in high school, took a break in college, took a break in university. Then I started working, and then I moved down to the England, and I was like, you know what, I should probably do something more. I should just go to the gym. So the first time I went to the gym was 2023. I was learning how to use the wrist wraps. I was learning how to brace my core and everything. And that started 2023.
And what got you into competitive bodybuilding?
So basically, this gym that I go to, which is literally next to my house, I was thinking of either doing gym or horse riding. But then horse riding is so far away from my house and the schedule is fully booked. So I was like, I'll just go to the gym. It's just next door. But this gym that I go to is actually already a specialized bodybuilding gym. So my first exposure, to a gym, proper gym, is a bodybuilding gym. Because when I walked in, I was like, whoa, why is everyone so jacked? I was like, this place is not normal. And why are the kids so funny looking? And that was all I've known. So I've been training for about 2-3 months. Honestly, 2-3 months. And then people started approaching me and they're like, Khai, you're training very, very hard. Like, are you planning to compete? And I was like, what do you mean? I literally just started 2-3 months ago. But because people who go there are competitors, it's only quite normal for them to ask that question. And I had a PT at the time, so I was doing in-person PT once a week, so that he was holding me accountable for that as well. And he taught me how to train to failure, but then training to failure takes skill and takes a lot of time. So that's why from the get-go, I was already training very, very hard. And that's why I was already, the newbie gains, newbie gains are quite exponential. So that was very visible to other people. That's why I got approached and I got asked that question. And that question just went like past my head because it was such an extreme thing for me to be going into when I just started going to the gym, But then I kind of like kept an open mind. I went to a few shows and I was like, actually, it looks really fun. Like I was initially quite stressed out about or the kind of extremities that I have to put myself through. Like, do I actually want to do this? Like, what if my relationship with everything else is not fully established? Do I really want to try doing something like that, especially from the get-go? So it took me some time to think about it. But honestly, it only took me about 5 to 7 months to think about it before I decided.
Well, that's really quick, but wow, amazing.
Being a newbie.
Yeah. Okay, so hold on that thought because my next question is actually regarding that. Okay, so entering this space, right, this gym and all that, and competitive bodybuilding, or especially just walking into the gym, what is the biggest mental challenge that you experience as a newbie?
The biggest mental challenge is, am I doing the right thing? Is my form correct? How am I supposed to load this machine? I don't understand what the rep range is with what kind of weights I should be using. I was very confused. So I actually spent a bit too much time at the gym trying to figure out the kits personally as well. And like just feeling like I didn't really belong there. I was a bit anxious because clearly the people around me they knew what they were doing. I just had to keep my head down and just focus on my own process, which took a bit of time. Yeah.
And did you hire a PT immediately when you entered the gym, or how did it go?
The first time I went into this gym was with a PT already.
Okay.
So I had a PT from the get-go because I didn't want to injure myself because I already knew that I was very, very lost and I wasn't sure if the way that I lifted would have injured my back. If that happens, I can't go to work. So for me, it's like an investment in my knowledge for the longevity of the health of my spine and my musculoskeletal system. So that's why I did it.
Wow, you already had that thought when you first entered the gym. And so jumping from like PT to currently, right? Like what was the transition from like just doing it for health and then you want to go like, oh, I'm going to compete on stage. I'm going to wear that bikini and flex off my muscles on stage. So what, like, tell me the process in between. Like what were you going through mentally?
All right. A lot. But to kind of really sum it up, I was like, okay, I'm already training very, very hard. And the people in front of me, they were already in this very intense sort of bodybuilding culture. And it feels like there's a golden opportunity for me to seize my potential. But obviously, it took me a long time to think about it because I didn't even know if I could go through a photo shoot prep. So I did a photo shoot prep with with the PT that I was with. And that prep to me was actually okay. Like, it was quite difficult for the photo shoot prep because obviously it was my first time in a deficit, first time in a diet phase as well. So I had to kind of sit through and be okay with feeling a bit hungry to kind of, burn some calories. But then I realized, if I can do this prep for the photo shoot, why don't I just take it up a notch? Because when I have that momentum going, when your cardio goes up, when your training is still the same, but your expenditure goes higher, it gives you that momentum to want to execute more in other areas of your life. And that gave me a spark. So it's because of that spark that made me question myself, like, can I then now challenge myself to the next level?
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I mean, that's a lot that was going through. Yeah. But okay. So I want to bring it down a little bit now that we got to know a little bit of your background, right? So, okay, based on your experience and especially as from a personal experience, right? Why do you think so many women are still afraid of lifting weights or getting too bulky?
Well, that's a very good question. There's a lot of cultural internalization of aesthetic norms. So you're basically deviating from cultural beauty standards, and society promotes shrinkage rather than expansion. You know, they are taught that women should be small, women should be slim and slender. Look at the posters in front of all the outlets. Do women look like they have got a lot of muscle? Like, actually they do. They just build it, but they don't show you, and then they show you what's on the poster. So because it's a lack of knowledge, and now it's like a cultural internalization of what women should be doing based on perceived beauty standards. And there's also a lot of socially conditioned cognitive biases as well. You know, like, is based on our environment, based on what we believe in our minds that this is the way that it should be for a woman to not have muscle. So it's already ingrained, you know, since the day that we were born, especially as females as well. And there are also studies about social physique anxiety and self-consciousness. So basically, the way women would perceive their bodies in public spaces leads to active avoidance of those spaces, because they can't help but to feel like they're being compared socially, or they're being judged. And, you know, it feels vulnerable if they have, like, if they look slightly away from, you know, the societal norms. Yeah. So a lot of it comes from, you know, what's being imposed. Yeah. So basically, a lot of that has got to do with what's being imposed onto women, you know, from a young age, and it's mostly cultural, which is why it could be understandable why women would feel that way. I felt that way as well. Yeah.
Okay, so if a woman were to come up and tell you, look, I don't want to look too masculine, what would you say to that person directly?
You are a woman. You have your female hormones. You do not have testosterone like a man. You're likely probably not on PEDs, you know? So yeah, unless you are going to a really high level of bodybuilding. But let's just start from scratch. You are a woman. You have your female hormones. You have your female curves. You have your female shapes. Even if you don't have shape, even if you think you are flat, when you lift muscles, when you lift weights, when you lift weights, it accentuates your curvatures by placing muscles in the right areas, and it gives you this really nice feminine body. The stuff that you're seeing about the lean, curvy body that you see on posters, these people lift weights. I'm telling you, I'm not saying strive for that, but what goes on behind the scenes all comes from weightlifting.
Amen to that. Wow, you nailed the point. Okay, yeah. So okay, so look, from your experience, right? What actually changes in terms of the physical and in terms of physically and mentally? What actually changed when women start to strength train consistently?
Wow. Lifting weights changed my life. It really changed my life for the better in every way. I can't think of a single con. Okay. So when I started lifting weights, I always do this thing called progressive overload, which means, like, okay, say this week I do 50 kilograms for 10 repetitions. Then I write it down on a logbook. And then the following week, I'm like, can I do 52.5 kilograms? You know, it's like, yeah, when you up that weight, it kind of gives you an incentive or something to look forward to in terms of progression. And that is very rewarding, because whenever you increase the weight, it gives you this psychological barrier or this psychological fear, like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can break through that. But then you prove yourself wrong every single time. And that changes how your brain rewires self-belief. So it's not just a physical breakthrough, and it's not just the physical rewards of the aesthetics. You become a very different person from just the way you perceive yourself, not from a confidence standpoint, from the way that you look, but it's also more so how you start seeing yourself differently.
Amen, sister. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Seriously nailed the head on that one. I love it. And absolutely, I agree with you. And that's what I've been sharing as a coach as well. So, okay. So I'm going to go a little bit to where your chiropractor background. Okay. So how has being a chiropractor changed the way you look in training and recovery?
So, okay. The thing about chiropractic knowledge is you understand the biomechanics of the spine, how it takes on load, how the discs absorb shock, which muscle where it inserts and where it attaches to. So this gives you like it gave me a head start in terms of the foundation of how I should be executing certain cues at the gym, right? Because the thing is, without the knowledge of being a chiropractor, let's say if I were to be any other person who goes to the gym without any biology knowledge, then I would want to train hard. Of course, everyone wants to train hard, but then you're going to be going past a level where your body can't even endure that, and that becomes a dysfunction. So my chiropractic knowledge just taps into the fine line of like, okay, training very hard, but also being very mindful of how much is too much. Yeah.
Okay. So what are the biggest mistakes you see people making in the gym eventually that eventually leads into injury?
One of the biggest mistakes, is that a question?
Yeah. So what are the biggest mistakes that you see people make in the gym that eventually leads to injury?
Definitely ego lifting. That's the number one, man. That's
like
the number one.
Baby. Woo. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look at this. I kind of maxed out on this machine. And then from the corner of my eye as a chiropractor and the bodybuilder, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, not for long. But that's very, very dangerous. It's not just about lifting the weight from point A to point B. You're really focusing on stimulus and intensity more than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some of the warning signs that people usually ignore before getting injured?
What they ignore when they get injured?
Yeah, no, as in like, what are the warning signs that people usually ignore before getting injured?
Oh, okay. So a few warning signs could come off like a small niggle, like a small discomfort. Because it's so mild, they're just like, it's not a problem. I can just push past it and, do the next thing again. But then you're actually causing repetitive micro trauma if you're neglecting the small aches and pains before it becomes like a big issue. So yeah, it's a lead up point to that.
Have you ever so being honest, have you ever done that before in the gym?
Oh yeah, as a newbie, I gotta admit, I went through the trial and error myself. Even as a chiropractor, I would think that I know the knowledge to not ego lift. Even when I didn't think I was ego lifting, I still went through the phase of ego lifting without noticing it. So I am very, very human in that sense as well. So I had 3 conditions within the first year of lifting. So this could, a lot of people can be very fearful about, what if I injure myself and stuff. It takes time, it takes skill, and it's trial and error. So I had a slip disc.
You too?
And I had
okay.
Yeah,
wow.
I had okay, I'll explain in a moment why that happened.
Okay.
Slip disc, I had neuralgia parastatica, which means I had numbness down my thigh. And then I also had an SI joint instability in basically my pelvis. Let me explain why that happened, okay? So with the PT that I had at the time, I bless him, he was an amazing PT. I was lifting 95 kilograms for an RDL, okay? And at the time I was 60 kilograms. So obviously 95 and 60 should be okay, But then I was in a deficit and it dropped my weight all the way down to 52 kilograms. Okay, so it went all the way from 60 to 52 in the span of 2-3 months. And then I asked my PT the same question again, because I know if I keep lifting 95 kilograms, even as a newbie, something's going to give. But my PT was like, if you still can lift the 95 at 52 kilograms, just do it. And I was like, I even asked him twice. I was like, are you sure? And he said, yes, just if you can, just do it. And I had my doubts. My chiropractic brain was ringing. But then I was like, I just got to trust this guy and see what happens. It's okay. Like, I slipped my disc. The moment I asked a few times, I knew that it was an indicator that something wasn't right. And I knew it. It happened. I slipped my disc during an RDL.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And then the numbness down my thigh, basically, okay, I was pushing to failure, but then the amount of weight that I was using was probably a bit of an overkill. So I went through the phase of pushing a bit too hard, and then there was numbness down my thigh. And the thing is, like, my PT's feedback and my personal physical experience of my pain did not match up. I sent him my form clips. It was still an all go. Like, he was still like, yeah, fine. And I was like, how is this fine? You know? So that was when I realized, right, I need to take action and, like, think for myself as a chiropractor's perspective as well. Because obviously I'm like, there are a few things here that are not right. So that's why choosing the right PT is so important. It's genuinely so important. But the reason why I had this first one is because I didn't really do my research as a first timer. I just kind of took anyone on board who came my way and contacted me. That was the first thing that I did, but I really wouldn't change it for the world, because now I kind of know exactly how these things can happen, and I can relate to my patients so much more after going through it myself, So yeah.
Hey, just to add on to that, yeah, I completely agree with you on all your pointers, because like, even as you were sharing your experience, a lot of memories actually came back to me as well, because like I too have a slip disc. Basically, my condition is that my L3 and L5 disc actually was misaligned, and it was pressing up against my nerves. But I didn't get that from lifting weights. I got that from wrestling. I got that from wrestling and jiu-jitsu, because I was still practicing some wrestling, even though like Malaysia only right now the wrestling scene is starting to come up, both pro wrestling and Greco-Roman, both. All right. So I was trying to like get back into competition. So I was training like wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and then but at the same time I was training boxing, right? And I started having this signs. Yeah, I was starting having this signs where my left side wouldn't respond as quickly as how my brain would want it to, right? It's like, example, I need to slip right and move away. I would, like, the right side of my body would respond, but my left side wouldn't. So, and it would have a delay. And by that delay, that split second, right, I just kept getting hit. So, and I was kind of weirded out, like, what was going on with that side of my body. And then eventually, the pain started to come in, and it got really unbearable when I was doing my sales job back then. And I finally had to, I knew I just had to get an x-ray done, because it was just ringing in my head that I need to get an x-ray done. So when I got the x-ray done, I found out, it wasn't my disc, my L3 and L5 disc that was thinning. It was just that it did slip off and it got misaligned and was pressing up against my nerves. That's why I couldn't, like, my brain couldn't respond properly, and my legs wouldn't move properly, wouldn't move in time as well. So I was like, what the heck? So besides that, the other two injuries I have is actually on my shoulder. I got a pulled muscle. I didn't get that checked out, but every once in a while it does come back. It hurts, and then I just have to deload from there a little bit until it feels better again, and then I'll pick up from there. But yeah, I mean, you just reminded me a lot of my own experiences as well. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess this is the whole gym bro kind of thing, ego lifting. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then like you end up injured, hurting yourself. But nonetheless, it's a very rich experience as well. It helps me with my clients. So right now, I'm always about injury prevention. So because of those experiences, I always work towards safety and injury prevention while getting my clients to actually lift weights, right? So yeah. So a lot of people think that recovery just means resting, right? So what does proper recovery actually look like, especially from your profession?
Recovery from a bodybuilding standpoint is basically just knowing when to pull back and deload. From a chiropractic perspective, recovery means like just resting properly and just be okay with not doing anything when you're in pain, especially. Because when we are in pain, you have that urge to still want to keep your routine going, still want to go to the gym and do this and that. But the more you try and push yourself to do these things, the more you're holding yourself back in the long term. So recovery just means actually being okay and having a healthy relationship with your gym needs, and just listen to your body, and be okay with staying away from the gym just to recover for a while.
And that's the hardest for us, isn't it?
It's very, very difficult because you probably think about, oh, I need to get the pump in, or I need to maintain something. But the thing is, you've already built the muscle nucleus. Think about it. You've tore your muscle so many times. You're going to rest for 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Your muscle nucleus is going to be back there. Then by the time you go back to the gym, you're going to feel some DOMS, some lactic acid soreness when you first go back. It's like starting again. It takes about a couple of weeks, but before you know it, you get everything back, your physique back in a few weeks' time anyway. So it's not that deep. You just have to recover for a while.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I guess it's really hard to suppress that meathead personality inside of each of us, that we just want to keep doing more. And then we are kind of like, mentally, I think we're kind of addicted to lifting iron, because we always like self-improvement, and you like to see our body change as well, right? Even in terms of strength. But it's also important that we sometimes learn, not sometimes, but most of the time, especially in our journey, to learn how to take a step back and actually let the body rest and listen to our bodies as well, right? I want to ask you about Malaysian gym culture versus UK gym culture. So you've experienced both countries, right? What are the biggest difference between gym cultures from Malaysia and versus the UK?
The gym culture in Malaysia versus the UK.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are the biggest difference?
Mind you, I've only started going to the gym in 2023, and I did it all in the UK. So I am more familiar with the gym culture in the UK. So I'll start there. there. Bodybuilding is a booming economy in the UK right now. It's popular. It's literally skyrocketing so much. We have a really, really good bodybuilding gyms all across the UK, but commercial gyms are still quite widespread. And that's why that sort of culture is very different. Like what I'm exposed to is very, very niche. So the equipment that we have in Malaysia, there are some pretty good equipment, but you can't really find many bodybuilding kits around. So throughout Malaysia, I believe we have more commercial than we do bodybuilding gyms. So when you told me about the one at Kota Damansara, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. I was so happy. I was like, I don't know if I can do bodybuilding in Malaysia. And then I found you guys, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? When you visit Malaysia, let's hang out a little bit more, because I would like to take you to all the gyms that have been opening in the last 1 to 2 years, and they're all like, right now, what's in trend in Malaysia is actually like those factory style gyms. And everything is bodybuilding equipment. But of course, they use it primarily for just fitness, obviously. But still, there's a lot of bodybuilding equipments that you can use, and you'll be happy to see that change.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I've not been home in a long time, and I just started doing this bodybuilding thing in 2023. So I think it's better for you to talk about the Malaysian gym culture, because I am more familiar with the UK.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's do that and exchange over here. So what can you tell me about the UK gym culture, and besides commercial gyms still being the prime gyms that most people go to, and as you said, there's a growing number of bodybuilding gyms that's been opening up and gaining popularity among the people there. What can you tell me in terms of culture, and we'll see what's the similarities from there.
I think male bodybuilding will always be a bit more popular. It's still quite male dominated, but I'm also seeing more and more women stand on stage. Like the lineups that I've seen for women, you get easily 15 girls on stage for one class. So it's growing. It's still growing for the women's side as well. Yeah. But it's still largely like a male dominated space. Yes.
Yeah. And then for the females, right, are they just particularly sticking to, do majority of the women that compete go towards just primarily go towards one category, or is like it's pretty evenly spread out throughout the female category in bodybuilding?
This is a good one. I think there are a lot of girls doing bikini. Like basically it's the category that I'm competing for. It's a very, very popular one. Figure, I would say the lineups, it depends on the season. Like if it's early on the season, not that many, and then later on the season you get more competitors because the finals are towards the end of the season. But for figure, I think the lineup is slightly less than bikini. Yeah, and then wellness. There are lots of wellness girls as well. But the amount of time that you actually take to build up to a figure and wellness is so much more time than getting to a bikini physique. I'm not saying that bikini girls are working less harder. I'm just saying that the muscle density that's required of bikini is just different. You could also be in bikini for like 10, 20, 30 years and still maintain that physique and increase muscular density. But I would say that bikini is the most popular one. And then the higher you go, obviously you have the bodybuilding and the physique classes as well. Those have been in the game for a long, long time. So the lineup will still exist, but it's not going to be as popular as other categories.
I see. Well, in terms of that, it's very similar here in Southeast Asia as well, because especially even in Malaysia, because bikini would still be the most popular simply because most women don't want to still has this fear, like what we were talking about earlier. They still have this mental fear that they will get like too large, right? They still want to have that nice figure, like a nice bikini figure that your muscle density is not too crazy. You're dieting down, but you don't have to get as dry or as be as veiny. When you wear a bikini, you can still like be feminine. The main thing is because they want to just stay as feminine as possible. So that's the culture here in Southeast Asia. So bikini in terms for women here is exploding, but the other categories, look, I'm a big fan of bodybuilding, even female muscles as well. I would like to see the other categories. Personally, I like to see the other categories being filled up a little bit more, at least to give the others, other like example figure or wellness to female competitors to a fighting chance in Southeast Asia, not just having to just go fly overseas each time they need to compete. So so I mean, personally, that's from my perspective, but in terms of popularity, is still leaning towards bikini when it comes to Southeast Asia. But China, however, China and Korea is just crazy when it comes to the other categories. You should see those. I'm not sure if you've probably seen those female bodybuilders on TikTok and on Instagram. They're just like boom, huge, and the muscles are so beautiful, like, I mean, kind of look a little bit more masculine, but fine, whatever. To me, I'm more into a muscle aesthetics anyway, and I actually end up admiring those women, and they still are able to look
takes
beautiful.
So much hard work and so much dedication to achieve that. Like the UK standards when it comes to bodybuilding, wellness, figure, every woman's category, the standards are incredibly high. If you do well in the UK, you do well in most other places because the competition is very, very cutthroat here.
Yeah, so men's physique still rules Southeast Asia, and all the dudes are just like, I want to get this beach ball, wearing this Bermuda pants and all that. But bodybuilding, not like in terms of the category, right? Classic bodybuilding is picking up, but open bodybuilding, personally, we see a lack of it. I wish there's more. And usually for us, we have to, for us to actually up our game or actually have a wider exposure, we have to travel. The closest place is actually to Thailand or the Philippines, but usually Thailand, because everybody flies in from all around the world into Thailand, and Thailand has, not by vote, but by popularity, became like the mecca of bodybuilding for Southeast Asia. So because they're super open about it over there.
Wow.
Yeah, so you see all the big dudes from Australia, from the UK. I mean, just in the PCA itself, like PCA competition itself, what I've seen is that a lot of them will just fly in from all over and compete there, even though they are based in Australia, they're based in somewhere else around the world. Yeah, and then you see the most jacked dudes, but even the local Thais themselves, they are like freaking like shorter than me. I'm already like 5'8", but they're way shorter. They're like 5'5" and all, but they're way larger and way wider than me, to the point where in my last experience, I stood next to one of them and I felt small. I was like, maybe I should go to jeans category if I'm standing next to this guy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such a specific category, and you're talking about the maximum amount, like there will never be a maximum, but like the most amount of muscular density. That's why it's so incredibly rare. It's so, I didn't know that you have to fly abroad to do stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I generally have no idea what the scene is like. So thank you so much for sharing. I think
Sure.
with time, with the decades to come, it will just expand.
Yeah,
As
I'm
we keep
hoping.
creating awareness, and promoting this, it will expand.
Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing. We get to be one of the early pioneers of, I mean, like, we're not exactly the pioneers because bodybuilding has been around and there are a lot of really quality bodybuilders, but we get to be part of the first wave that actually, like, we see all this private international competitions pick up, and then we're part of that wave, and then we spread our influence there. So
Yeah, definitely. We definitely need more awareness of why
Yeah.
people should not just do bodybuilding for the sake of competing, but just bodybuild, like just build muscle, just for your health,
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever comes what may, when you want to compete along the way, that's like an added bonus.
Yeah. Well said. Hey, so okay, now I'm getting into bodybuilding. So what does bodybuilding prep actually looks like behind the scenes that people don't usually see from your perspective and your experience?
From my perspective and my experience, I am a single woman. I live by myself. I have friends through video call and phone call and in real life. So my process was rather seamless, and I acknowledge that it's very, very seamless because everything that I have right now in my reality is all under my control. So my behind the scenes is basically spending this time really trying to understand myself in this kind of extreme scenario. So I don't get much outside noise. I don't get much food noise. I'm just really looking at how do I execute the day-to-day process, and how do I challenge my obstacles, like when it comes to something unprecedented that happened at work, how can I then tackle that while being in the prep, So it's what I tell myself that will get me through the prep. So behind the scenes, you're talking a lot about like affirmations, like always telling yourself, you can. Don't think about how much you have to do. Just look at the thing that you have that's in front of you and do it now and do it to the best of your ability. Everything else will come along the way. Just do it one thing at a time. And because of that, that actually helped calm my mind down. And that was the calmest that I've ever felt, because people always think about, bodybuilding prep is so stressful. But the thing is, that was actually the most calmed mental state for me, because I had no choice but to kind of tell myself to, relax, take it easy, like calm yourself down, be level-headed, and just do it. Think less, do more. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So how do you balance being a chiropractor, an athlete, and also a content creator? Because you blew up on TikTok. I got to highlight that. You blew up on TikTok. So how do you balance all of that? It seems like a lot of work, really.
I think it's just about allocating time. Again, like I don't have kids, I just allocate time to my hobbies, allocate time for my work, allocate time for content creation. If you think about it, it feels like it's a full-time job for each thing. But if you can just use your Google Calendar and then just time block the thing, and then you can see on your Google Calendar, depending on what color you put it, you already kind of know from one glance what you should be executing on a day-to-day basis. But despite I allocate time, I still kind of exceed it. I'm not going to lie, I still exceed time and I do more. That's what I'm guilty about, because when I'm very passionate about something, it will be on my mind, and then I love to talk about it. And when I talk about it, I will love to create more as well. So I tend to kind of go a bit more than what I sell for myself. But I also need to kind of tell myself that it's good to kind of hold back a bit if I want to do this a long term, because I don't want to burn out. So that is a constant reminder that I give myself. I allocate time, try my best to not exceed, but when I'm passionate, I exceed, and then tell myself to go back to baseline. Yeah.
Wow. But good tip, especially on like being like managing your time, putting a schedule up that you can see and start
Yeah.
planning. Yeah, this is a good one. I mean, even from my own experience, I do that, but sometimes I do fail, and I do know that people that fail to do that as well. So yeah, it's great advice. So, hey, I got something. I really want to ask you this. So, what is that one fitness myth about women that seriously needs to die?
A fitness myth.
Yeah, what is that one fitness myth about women that seriously needs to be put to rest?
That you start looking like a man when you lift. Like, just stop saying that. I hear that all the time.
I've been hearing that
Like,
too.
stop it. You won't. I need to clarify that once and for all. You won't look like a man because you are biologically not a man.
Amen, sister. Amen. Preach.
I hear it so much.
Yeah, I personally find that annoying, but then I was like, since when can you look like a dude? I can't look like a woman. Do you see this beard on a woman?
Yeah,
So
but
like-
when a woman thinks when she upsizes, she'll look like a man. And I'm like, in what world? In what world?
Unicorn world. Yeah. So, okay, look. So what would you say to a woman who feels intimidated walking into a gym for the first time?
I've been in that place, so I know. I have gone through intimidation countless of times. And let me tell you this, your reaction is very valid. It's normal because it's new, it's unfamiliar, it's uncertain. You don't know what you're doing. You just go through it. You have that feeling, but your actions are still the same. You still do it. You still show up for yourself. You can be intimidated and still do it. You can be scared. You still do it. You still don't believe in yourself and you still do it. In the end of the day, your actions will make you convince yourself and you collect evidence that you can do it. So what you're feeling right now when you're intimidated, understand that this is a phase. And that intimidation is actually a sign that you're putting yourself out there and you're trying to improve yourself. If you weren't trying to improve yourself, that intimidation wouldn't exist. So you should be proud that you're intimidated because you're going to get over it.
Preach, sister. Really, I love what you're telling me, what you're saying here. Preach, really. Okay, so what's that one truth about training or health that genuinely changed your life?
What is the one truth about health that will genuinely change my life?
Yep, one truth about training and health that genuinely changed your life.
The truth is, training and weightlifting is non-negotiable. When I accept that it's non-negotiable, it changes my life. So instead of me feeling like, this is something that I have to do, I just want to look good. But if I understand that from a health perspective, I have to exercise, then I understand the whole essence of why I should be doing. Especially as a woman, I'm going to be a bit sciencey here, so just bear with me, yeah?
Go ahead.
As a woman, okay, after the age of 30 years old, you're going to lose muscle mass 3 to 5% every decade. And it could even go up to 8% every decade after the age of 30 for women. After 60 years old, when you're going through menopausal, postmenopausal, that accelerates even more, yeah? Your muscle starts deteriorating between 10 to 15% per decade past the age of 60. Why? Because our estrogen goes down. So what's going to happen? Your muscles are only going to go away slowly and slowly and slowly. And what are you left with? Being frail, being immobile, being not able to be independent. And this is why I see day in, day out in the clinic. So when you understand that this is a non-negotiable, your life, as you start aging, will only look better and better and better. You're going to be ahead of everybody because you are well equipped to take on life. Okay, especially for women, because the thing is, we are told to not do this. We want to be slim and skinny, but it's actually when you're skinny, most of it is fat. You don't even have much muscle, and then what's going to happen when you don't really have much muscle? Okay, when you lift weights as women, you're putting that stress on your body. That's how you stimulate fibroblasts and osteoclasts to detect physical changes, and it starts remodeling your body. That's how you go through body recomposition. Even with lower estrogen, the physical mechanical load forces that you get from lifting weights will open up all these ion channels in the cells to activate pro-collagen gene expression. And women are talking about, I want collagen, I'm going to eat collagen and stuff like that. You can build and stimulate that pathway through lifting. And that's how you form type 1, type 3 collagen. You're also having an upregulation of your growth hormones, and it increases your expression of insulin-like growth hormones, which is the IGF-1. So if you take the growth hormone plus the IGF-1, it helps repair, and it helps repair the cells, and it also binds to the fibroblasts to accelerate, the muscle builds. So it's like it's only an upward trajectory. So it's a non-negotiable. That's a bit of a tangent, but I feel so strongly about this. That awareness has to be shared with everyone.
That is absolutely amazing. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm like, just go on. This is perfect. I could think about so many people I should share this podcast to immediately, just send it to them on WhatsApp. I just want them to hear it from you directly as well, because as a woman, as somebody who's active, who's doing this full time, and who's in the field, they would probably your words will weigh a lot heavier than mine, because they'll be like, you're a man. What will you know?
I have more to say. Now. I'm not on a roll. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I see a lot of patients in the clinic, and I see a huge geriatric population. Yeah. Someone could come. Okay, 2 people could come in to see me. Say they're 75 years old. Okay, and then I give them the same diagnosis with their musculoskeletal problems. Their healing rates are different. The only difference that will separate their healing rate is that one has a positive mindset, they exercise, and they take care of their lifestyle, and they are on hardly any medication. The other one doesn't exercise, thinks negatively, has a lot of medication, relies on medication to heal, quote unquote, heal them. My prognosis for them is different despite having the same diagnosis. That's it. MRI studies, you can even look at studies, 75 years old, you go and exercise, I don't know, whatever it is, cycling, swimming, weightlifting. You do an MRI, there's a cross-section where you look at how thick your muscles are. There is a study of this person having the more or less the same amount of muscle at the age of 75 compared to a 45-year-old who does not exercise. So the facts are already out there. It's your choice with what you want to do with what I've just said.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. I love it when you're on fire. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So quick fire. All right. Quick fire questions. Favorite exercise?
Hip thrust.
Hip thrust. Okay. Least favorite exercise?
Bulgarian split squat.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I hate that too, but gives the best results. One habit that changed your life?
One habit that changed my life. Structuring, putting systems into place and structuring my time.
Wow. And those are very important points. Yes, perfect. Okay. So we have come to an end. So I want people to know, where can people find you online?
They can find me on Instagram at Khai Wern. KHAIWERN. I talk about my mindset, women empowerment, and I give chiropractic tips, and I do storytelling.
Perfect. And I'm following as well I love everything that you put. You're also on TikTok, right?
No, don't talk about my TikTok right now.
Why? Come on.
I've not posted on TikTok for a long time now.
Okay, so you're more active on Instagram.
Because the demographics on TikTok is very, 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 very volatile. And Instagram, in my personal opinion, is actually a more professional and more predictable platform for me to establish personal branding as opposed to TikTok. So I prefer Instagram.
Same. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I just much prefer Instagram.
All right, Khai Wern, thank you for today.
No problem.
Yep,
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having the time to have this conversation with me.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, and turn on the notification button as well to be updated on all the new episodes that we upload. And Khai Wern, thank you for this conversation. It was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Khai Wern.